And gentlemen, we are live.
All right.
Great.
All right. So first and foremost, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to join us. Today we have a very, very special episode with two gentlemen here. We have Mr. Sergio and Gil. And here, shortly after I give my brief introduction, I'll let them introduce themselves and we'll start the conversation here. Cool?
Great.
All right, so in tonight's episode, we're pretty much going to be talking about a piece of land here located in Troy Street Troy Street and Sweetwater Road in the Spring Valley area and Lemon Grove area. This land is owned by Caltrans and was originally planned back in the 1990s to be used for freeway ramps connected to the 125 freeway. This was pretty much to reduce all the traffic and improve safety in our community. Those ramps were never built, and traffic in that area has continued to get worse over time. Right now, the San Diego County is trying to purchase this land to build a housing project while helping people experiencing homelessness. It's important. Many residents are concerned that this land was originally meant for transportation use and could still be important for future traffic and safety improvements. Once the land is sold, it cannot be replaced. So tonight we're here to help explain what's happening, share information, and hear from the community members who have studied this issue closely. The final decision involves Caltrans and the California Transportation Commission. So community awareness and involvement matters. Did I get that all right, gentlemen?
Got it right on the money.
Perfect.
Exactly.
Mr. Sergio, would you want to start your, or what was it, Gil? You want to start your introduction, and then we'll take it from there.
Sure. Okay, my name's Gilbert Chavez. I am representing the Spring Valley Coalition, which in the very beginning had opposed these tiny homes in the Hamishaw area off of Hamishaw Road in Spring Valley. And that property was also Caltrans. And at that time, they had wanted a contract to get that land to build 150 tiny homes on that property. We protested. We did our best to stop it, and accordingly we did with Nora Vargas's help. She at that time was a district council member there.
Yeah.
So the thing is, what happened? This money situation came about through the state of California. They granted the county about $10 million or so to do this. So when that fell through, Montgomery picked up the whole package and tried to use that money to purchase that property where we're talking about now, which is right off of Troy Street.
Yeah.
Now that's Caltrans property also, and but the remarkable part about this whole story is that property originally was Spring Valley, but because Caltrans purchased that for their freeway off ramp, it sort of landed in Lemon Grove's area. So now Lemon Grove is that's their property if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
And so now they went to Lemon Grove and they proposed it to Lemon Grove and said, we're going to do this over in your area. Well, the Lemon Grove mayor was all for it, but the people were against it. So now we're sitting in a position where uh, if they do this, it's going to be a real problem because that is a low-bearing occupant that they're trying to build there. They want to build these tiny homes and put them in there and have people, take some counseling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The real problem is their design on this particular area was to discharge and enter off of Sweetwater Road
Mm.
because Troy Street it has you can't do it off the Troy Street bridge, and so now it falls in. Guess what? Spring Valley area. So that's the reason why a lot of people in Spring Valley are upset over this. Not to say that Troy Street itself is a major drug issue, a major crime issue, a major you just everything that's going wrong is it's on that street. And so now they want to dump all these people in there and have it join into Troy Street. So now we're trying to oppose this if it comes up, and that's where we're sitting at now.
And I just pulled up the map here where I'm going to be zooming in just for confirmation. It is around this area that we're looking at, right?
Correct. It's in that green grass area right there.
Okay, perfect. And I know originally the first time we spoke when they were trying to build these tiny homes for homeless or whatnot, one of the biggest concerns that we had was that a lot of these people that are homeless, most of them here around this area, they don't want help. They want to be free. They want to be pretty much be out and about and just continue living the way they're currently doing right now. Are we looking into being the same issue in this other location as well?
Yes. This is the major crux of this whole problem. Um, here's half of what the issue is. They go out and they talk to these homeless people on a regular basis, and I'm talking about the county with all the resources they have. They go out and they talk to them and ask them if they would like help. Now, if there's housing available, they have to give them housing, and this is one of the reasons why they want to build this. Is it's a crutch between, okay, we got homes for you. Now you can't turn it down. We've got to take you over there,
Yeah.
or they move on to another location.
Yeah.
My Here's my position all along. I'm not against the homeless. Uh, I feel for the homeless. In fact, I had a relative that was homeless, so I get the program. The issue I'm coming up with is you're putting them in another position where it's not going to help them because the liquor store is right across the street. You're not going to help them because the drugs are right down Troy Street. You're not going to help them because they're going to go right back to crime or do what they want to. What we need to do is find a location, and I've said this all along. The county has tons of property that they can come up with, that they can put these people and give them help on the property, and also give them food, directions, psychological help, whatever it takes. But you can't do that if you're going to put them in a society that's going to go right back to what they do for natural living.
Right.
And that's
And
what they're going to do.
yeah, and for the people that don't know you, who's Gilbert? Are you part of the city? Are you a member of the community? That way they know that why your interest.
So here, I've lived here in Spring Valley for 45 years. I've raised my three girls here. They all went to all the schools in this neighborhood. And I've been a part of this organization, which is a Spring Valley Coalition, when this first started with these other tiny homes. And then it all started from neighbors. This is not something that we designed or came up with politically or anything. It was brought up by all the community. And the community spoke up, and that's the reason why it didn't happen on Hamishell Road. So, and as me, I'm retired at this point. I've been retired for about 10 years. So I'm doing community work with this agency, which is the Spring Valley Coalition, and I'm also a volunteer sheriff. And I just got nominated on the board of the Spring Valley Community Projects. So I'm involved in the community because I love this community. I've lived here for almost 50 years, so I don't want to see it go downhill. I've seen this place change so much, and yet it has a potential. And our biggest problem, this is the biggest problem, we're unincorporated. We don't have a voice. We don't have a governor or mayor or whatever you need for a city. And the city has all these resources that they can do things. We don't have that. We have one district and one district only, and that is through now Paloma Gutierrez. So that's the thing. We're in a position where we don't have anything to do other than raise our voice. And I want to make this neighborhood good for my grandkids and everybody else's children.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, and I think you said it perfectly too. The location initially where they wanted to put these tiny homes, it was right in front of the recycling center. There's a 7-Eleven right there. So it was almost putting them in that perfect habitat for them to continue doing all the different types of possibly alcohol and drugs or that type of involvement.
Yes, it doesn't help the system. What
No.
they're doing is accommodating the system, and that's part of the issue where they're not going to get any help if you can go across the street and buy liquor. They're not going to get any help if you can buy drugs right across
Right.
the street. That's not the program.
Yep. And Sergio, if you don't mind introducing yourself and pretty much mentioning why you want to get or your interest in the involvement of this land.
Great. Yes, thank you. Thank you both. You guys explaining things very well. So my name is Sergio Gonzalez, and similar to Gilbert, not exactly, but I am also a resident homeowner of Spring Valley for 33 years, 34 years. I'm also participate in the community with Spring Valley Coalition, Spring Valley Alliance, Street Stewards, the sheriff in Rancho San Diego. So as I'm volunteering and taking on activities with these groups, some are individual, some are other groups, like Gilbert mentioned, the Spring Valley Community Planning Group that meets the second Tuesday and the fourth Tuesday at the San Miguel headquarters fire station off Austin. So as I was volunteering, as I was trying to work with the community, I started to see things. I started to run into similar individuals that were doing the same thing, wanting to make sure Spring Valley got its fair share. Spring Valley was not a dumping ground for trash or for programs. And again, I felt inspired by a lot of the people like Gilbert and others, and the boards and others that even the Spring Valley, Chamber of Commerce. So there's several groups. So I just got more and more involved. So when this issue came up about the tiny homes, I was surprised because I felt like I was aware of my surroundings and what was going on, but it seemed to just kind of land and that there was approvals and that it was going to happen. And we, like Gilbert says, like, wait, what's going on? So we went to the County of San Diego Board of Supervisor meetings. We've held meetings again with a lot of these organizations and trying to find out, see transparency of what's going on. And a little bit more about myself. For 33 years, I audited hospitals, nursing homes, and health clinics. So I worked for the Department of Healthcare for the state of California. I recently retired. But again, I was an auditor for 10 years. I was an audit manager for 20 years. And then I was a section chief, as they call it. So my background, again, in a hospital, there's hospitals that have annual cost of 900 million. That's just one of the hospitals. And again, we audited all the hospitals in San Diego County and Imperial County. So you're talking all the Sharps, all the Scripps, Palomar, Alvarado when it was around, so all the hospitals, UCSD, Edgemore, I mean, all of them. So with my background in accounting and auditing, and again, we follow standards, right? We follow generally accepted government auditing standards. We follow GAAP. That's called GAGAS. We follow GAAP, meaning generally accepted accounting principles. So again, standards and principles, we have to have continuing education. So we have to be informed. So in my nature, again, trying to help the community, trying to improve things around my block, I ran in the group. And again, I started to look at what's available to us. Again, as an auditor, it was great because I can go in the hospital and ask for anything. But as a resident of Spring Valley, I can't just ask for things. So I have about 5 sources in front of me that I've gone through and analyzed.
Okay.
And again, it'll be available to everybody. So it's not just me.
Okay, yeah. I don't know if you wanted to start going through some of those numbers or documents, or
Yeah, right. That would be great. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll list some of my sources. So one major source is a letter dated October 21st, 2025. And that's written by Ebony Shelton. She's the Chief Administrative Officer of the San Diego County. So she wrote this letter specifically to the 5 Board of Supervisors. So that we've mentioned some of them. Again, that's Paloma Aguirre, that's Joel Anderson, Tara Lawson Remmer, and then Monica Montgomery Stepp, and then Jim Desmond. I think I pronounced that correct. So out of those 5, when they voted on this topic, only Jim Desmond voted against it to continue the negotiation to purchase that land. So he was the only one that voted against it. The other 4, which again are public information, they voted for this. And again, we had meetings with some of the supervisors. We thought we were on the same page, and we found out otherwise. So that letter dated October 21st mentions several things. Another source that I'm going to use is an article written on January 9th, 2026 by KPBS. So that's a nice summary, after the vote and things like that. Now, another source that I'm going to use is a website by the district, 4th District, MonicaMontgomeryStepp.com. MonicaMontgomeryStepp.com. She has a frequently asked questions about this whole project. So, and again, what I want to do is tie some of the information from that website to the letter.
Okay.
They should be the same, but they're not.
Right.
And in some cases.
Yeah.
And then again, there's also an email from a deputy director, Scott Chrisman, that there's communication with Caltrans on this, and I want to go over that.
Yeah.
So and then I like that Gilbert mentioned, and you did the 125. There's also a public document from the County of San Diego, the general plan, and the Spring Valley Planning Group wrote information about, this was in 2010. This is in 2010. So that kind of ties where the freeway should be. The website from Montgomery ties where we should be. So there's a lot of information. But let's first go over just the numbers that were listed in that letter.
Yeah, and
So
just real quick,
Yeah.
if you guys are just joining us, we're talking about this piece of land here. Like Sergio was pretty much mentioning that I think in the beginning stages, it was meant for the off ramp of the 125 to alleviate traffic, so on and so forth. But now they're trying to make this area into those tiny homes for, I believe, is it only for homeless, pretty much encampment, Sergio?
Correct.
Okay, and it's
yes.
and it's this area right here. Yep.
Yeah, they hope to house up to 70 per night, just to give you perspective. And again, that's in the letter from October 21st, written to the Board of Supervisors.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that anybody that's joining us right now is kind of aware of the conversation we're taking. We're pretty much talking about this land that we don't want to lose out on this land, because once it's sold, I believe we can no longer get it back, right?
Right. Yeah, there's some caveats, because that's one of the key things, that things have changed from the initial voting to let's do this, to the late of they were going to get it for $1 a month, and now it's no. Now they're talking 2 million in some areas, and now they're also talking 955,000 in some areas. So that's where I'm going to lead into, okay, you were going to get it for $1. That was nixed. Okay, then they said probably 2 million to buy it. But there's a caveat in there and I'm going to show you where it actually says it's not fiscally, there's a fiscal risk, fiscal meaning money.
Okay.
And then now they're saying it might be 955. So those are huge gaps. I would understand if they said it's 955, but maybe a million.
Perfect.
No, they're talking big gaps. So just again to per that letter written to the county district, the cost again. They're saying the cost to design, to plan, to construct, 1.1 million. Okay. To build those tiny cabins, 1.1 million. And again, they would like to start construction this summer. So, okay. Now, what they're saying, and this is important, they're saying that the estimated cost of the programs is approximately 3.6 million. 3.6. So that means 3,600,000. I'll get to that 600,000 in a second. And that's per year. So now what they're also saying is that they can lease this, well, initially it was an intention to lease. Now they're talking purchase. So that's again where the confusion comes in. So they were estimating 15 years. So what I thought, okay, what's the cost over 15 years? What's the cost per person staying? So I started to do the math. So 3.6 million multiplied by 15 years, so that comes out to 54 million. Okay, just to give you an example. And now if it was only 5 years, it would be 18 million. So just to give you perspective, 54 million and 18 million, that's just the cost to operate it, to operate that. So now, okay, now individuals, yeah, that's the cost to operate. Now, individual wise, right? They are saying that it would house up to 70, but this is not a permanent fix for the individuals that are unsheltered or homeless. This is more of a 6 month, up to a 6 month program, where they could, build their skills or, take a shower, get counseling. They would get meals. There's services that are provided to it, but the kicker is too, they're not required to get any of those, to actually participate in any of those services. Pretty much.
Yeah, so let me play devil's advocate, right? So let me
Right.
so let's say why is that an issue, right? When they're trying to help people get people back on their feet. Why would we say we don't want that here in our community?
Right, because if they're not required to take advantage of the services that we're paying for, the money, then they can pretty much just come and go. It's called a low barrier. Low barrier means there's no testing for alcohol, there's no testing for drugs. Specifically, they will have 24-hour service of security, cameras and things like that, but it doesn't mean that they get tested. So someone could have 5 beers, 3 beers, come back and go to bed.
That's
and not
interesting.
participate in the program. Yeah, so that was one thing that we went to a Lemon Grove meeting where they talked about this, and we were where the county was there, and we were shocked. We were like, they're saying this, that there is no checking. So everything's provided to them, and as you mentioned earlier, it doesn't mean they have to take it.
Yeah.
So you may have mental health, you may have career services, you may have all these things, but it doesn't mean that there's a process for them to take it.
Okay.
It's not like, so again, they are screened to come in, meaning they're not necessarily, they can't be arsons, they can't be, rapists, they can't be certain things. But again, if someone's an arson, it doesn't mean they could be, let's say they exclude arsons. It doesn't mean that somebody can't be an alcoholic or have drug issues or mental issues and still kind of do what they would like without taking care of not utilizing the services.
Okay.
The money.
Yeah.
So like I was saying, if it's the overall cost when you add the 11 million and then the overall cost when you add the 11.1 million. And then the maintenance cost is $67 million, $67,100,000. Now, if it was only for 5 years, it would be $31,100,000. But that's okay. Everything costs money, right? To have a highway costs money, to have police, to have fire department. So, and again, I agree with Gilbert. We're here. We would love to get them help. But again, we're talking about the money, we're talking about the location, and we're talking about low barrier. Those are kind of like the 3 key points. But okay, I'm going to talk about the money. Like I said, 70 individuals per night, right? And they can only stay 6 months at max. So it's really over a year, it's 140 individuals. And if you have 140 individuals over 15 years, that turns out to be 2,100 individuals. Divide that to the 67 million. So it's costing pretty much 31,952. So 32,000 per individual that's there for 6 months. Wow. pretty much, or okay, so then you break that down per month. Let's just do it per month, because we all have monthly bills, of course. So it comes out to 2,663 per month. Wow. Just for someone to live in a cabin, where they have Wi-Fi. They again, there's cameras for security, there's services, but again, they can come and go as they would like. So that's one of the concerns math wise, like, wait, 2,663 per individual for the year. So it's like, why not give them something else, right. A stipend or something, or some other, where they have to go to a center and they can go sleep personally somewhere else. But that's just a number to be aware of. And again, that's over 15 years. And that's one of the other things about the numbers that are kind of, again, as an auditor, they're not estimating any increases in inflation, cost of living. So they said 3.6 million per year is the estimated cost. Over 15 years, no, it's going to go up. Look back at any of your bills, any of your history on anything the last 15 years, things went up. Yeah. Groceries, electricity, gas, everything has gone up 15 years ago. So that's why when we saw these numbers from the letter written that day, it's like, wait, that doesn't quite make a lot of sense, because there has to be inflation. There has to be, again, as retired, I'm here sitting, oh, hopefully cost of living kicks in pretty soon. And then
Yeah.
and Social Security does projection for the elderly where they give a COLA, the cost of living adjustment. So, and it's usually, 2.5%, 3%. It's been as high as 14 in the 80s%. But that's what I'm saying. That 3.6 is a little, it's kind of could be deceiving, is what I'm trying to say,
Yeah.
or misunderstood. So again, but if you break that down for 5 years, let's say something didn't go well, something happened, the cost per year would be more closer to 45,000 per year per individual. And then if you break it down per month, it's 3,700 and two. So those are just again some of the cost. But okay, and that was based on the letter. So one thing that I said I would come back to is the website for Monica Montgomery. That website, again, it's Supervisor Monica Montgomery Step.com. When you go to the frequently asked questions, it specifically says that under
Sorry about that. Thank you for the super chat. I have sorry for the audio.
no, it's okay.
Yeah.
No, but if you go to the frequently asked questions, there's one that says, how is the project being funded? So they're saying the county will fully fund the 11.1 million one-time construction cost. That's what they say for 70 sleeping cabins. But it says the county will also fully fund the cost of 3 million in annual operations while continuing to advocate for state funding. 3 million. I'm not, rich, but 3 million and 3.6 million, that means there's a gap already within their own documents, meaning the letter written to them October and their website today is short $600,000 per year. Multiply 600,000 times 15 years, if all goes well, that's $9 million, almost the cost of building it.
Yeah.
So how could you be that off in your own records within 4 months?
Right.
So that's where our concerns are coming up in some of the ways. Now, the other concern I briefly mentioned, where this was supposed to be leased at $1 million. The letter now says, the letter from October 21st said, it's supposed to be leased for $1 a month.
Okay.
Now the letter says 2 million, but now the website says 955. So that's again a discrepancy.
Right.
For us auditors, that raises eyebrows.
Right.
We ask more questions. But again, I'm just a public citizen of of Spring Valley, working with a great people, trying to clean up and do things to make better. And I'm noticing these things.
And
now,
when you say about this discrepancy, you think it's an honest mistake, or you think there's something else going on?
Auditing, as any industry, has a term, a saying, right? A person that does crafts, like a craftsman would say, measure twice, cut once.
Yeah.
Right. In auditing, we say we trust, but we must verify.
True.
We trust, but we must. So I trust that it was it's an obvious discrepancy.
Yeah.
But I trust that it was a mistake. Now, but that's the problem. Some of these mistakes have been happening, and again, the letter itself says that the letter that I keep mentioning says that the board on October 21st, on October of 2021 and February of 2022 is when they signed to kind of start this process, to kind of look for something. But that's completely different from the dates they mentioned. So when I went to the website, it was different dates. It says things like, again, there's a lot of frequently asked questions, and my screen kind of closed on me.
Okay.
But it talks about that in March 2023, Governor Newsom offered this money. But wait, if you approve something back in 2021 and 2022, why is something that happened in 23 now changing things?
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. Things are changing and they're voting, but you voted on something that isn't there anymore, meaning the lease, for example, or again, 2 million. Now you're saying 955, the cost of 3.6, but you're saying 3 million. So these are the things that the discrepancies that raise our eyebrow, and we would love to verify. And again, in most of the hospitals, most corporations, the big money, they always have a corporate compliance officer, or they do internal audits. And we just rely on the internal audits, but we do our own tests. Here, I'm not seeing things like that. You know, again, based on my training that I had.
Right.
But again, I'm limited to what I can look at. So, and then another thing that you asked about, there was on that letter that I keep referring to,
Yeah.
on page 3, it says, if the property ceases to be used exclusively for public purposes during the 15-year period, Caltrans may exercise power of termination and take back ownership of the property. But again, was that when they were talking about the lease, or is that now that they're talking about a purchase? So you could see that they were talking about, okay, if this falls through. So
Yeah.
so the other concern I had, back to money, they've already spent, as of October, 1.1 million. They've already spent 1.1 million. So you're saying, okay, if the build cost was 11 million, why did you spend already 1.1? Like, what, you haven't even acquired the land.
That's what I was gonna say. But like, based on what, right? What is it that they spent this money on?
Right. And they mentioned expended on assessments, design, pre-construction activities, but there's still other things that needed to be done. So what I'm saying is, before and I did construction at my house. So before I did the actual construction, you assess the setbacks, you make sure the soil report from an engineer, you make sure you do some things before you hire a contractor.
Right.
You have to kind of do your due diligence. So that was another concern. Back to again, how much was already spent? Has it been really used appropriately? Again, it's kind of raising my brow, is what I wanted to say. And then the other thing, there was an email, which I find very interesting. Emails are great. You're able to see, actual people. So, actual conversations,
right,
rather than like a written report that's given out. So this email was written by Scott Chrisman, Deputy Director. He's Deputy Director for the county under the Project Management Division. Okay, so this email was written on August 6, 2025. So they talk about the background, and again, this is a public document. They talk about the background, the parcel, and it was part of SR 125 that had federal funds. Like I mentioned, Medi-Cal is federally funded 50% in California, and most of the other states, by the way. But anyways, they talk about potential solutions to explore with Caltrans. One of them says, the Troy Street parcel may be removed from the excess land list if it will serve a transportation use. So why would they want to remove it from the excess land list under the terms of use for transportation use, which he actually gives examples of what that is. Staging area for road projects, part of a bike path, a new crosswalk, a new bus stop, etc. If Caltrans can get it off the excess land list, it says, it can lease us the property at market rate. However, Caltrans will have to convince FHWA, that's the Federal Highway, I forgot the acronym, but we'll get to that. The parcel will serve as if they can convince them, FHWA, who did vote subsequently to proceed with this, it says that the parcel will serve as a transportation, that it will serve as a transportation use. But it's not, I don't see how housing can serve as a transportation use. So that was one of their solutions. What kind of threw me back. And then it says in this letter from August, and again, remember the letter on October 21st. Now this is an email from before that, August 6th. This email says from the county deputy director. It says the county could buy the property. However, the county doesn't believe we have the funding or the time to purchase the property. This project is already at the budget and is being funded with ARPA money that must be expended by the end of 2026. So they're saying they don't really have the money, but in the letter they say they do.
Oh, that's interesting.
So those are the things about money, is what I'm saying.
Right. Something fishy is going on for sure. At least it sounds like it, right?
And that's why I want to be factual and read you and quote you and tell you where these documents are and all that kind of stuff, because your interpretation, you have, again, we as auditors have professional judgment.
Right.
We do also have professional skepticism. That's another one of the sayings under auditing, professional skepticism. So we have this, okay, wait a second, that doesn't quite sound right. One thing is saying one thing and the other thing saying another. So, and again, so those are some of the things that I wanted to point out, that kind of, raise my brow, as they would
Right.
say.
Let me see. Yeah, exactly. I'm getting some messages to the number, the hotline number, but I'm also seeing some comments here. Let me pull some of those up real quick so we can touch on that. Let me see if I can pull. It looks too small. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see that, but I'll pull them up and I'll read it off in case you guys can't see it. So the County of San Diego must not move forward with this plan. It's a waste of taxpayer money with no real return investment. And then I also see here, without strict rules, accountability, and mandatory treatment, this project will fail before it even begins. Our community deserves real solutions, not temporary shelters that do nothing to address root causes of the crisis. I agree. And
So this is typical government.
Just to add to that, some of those comments, another term in auditing or accounting is called sunk cost. Sunk cost, which for me or most of us, it means don't throw good money after bad. So sunk cost, that's what it means in accounting terms.
Okay.
So go ahead, Gilbert.
Yeah, Gil.
Yeah, this is very typical of government type work. I worked for the county for 10 years. I was a building inspector. I was a stormwater inspector. I was an ADA inspector. And part of the issue is the county or the government, if you want to call them any entity that's government, they show you one thing, they tell you one thing, but nothing's ever exposed to the point where you know exactly what's happening. And here's the reason why. When they project, so I'll give you an example. They're going to go for this land. They say they have the money. Well, they don't have the money, but they're projecting they will have the money by the time the project starts. So now you're in a position where, well, you said you didn't have the money. Now you're saying you have the money. Well, here's the problem. When you get to buying property off the county, or if you do projects with Caltrans, which is the state of California, let's be honest. We're dealing with the state of California and San Diego County. Those are two entities, government. And they deal with each other all the time. This particular property that we're talking about had many other options. One was a park and ride. One was they were going to put another some sort of transportation system there, a bus stop or a bus depot, something to the effect of transportation. They even talked about putting highway patrol as a substation in some of these areas. But when this housing came up with the small houses, here's what enticed the county of San Diego. The state of California said, look, we're going to make you a deal. We're going to give you a real cherry deal here. You can use any of our government property, and we're talking about Caltrans, and we'll lease it to you, or we'll just give it to you in a small lump sum. And all you got to do is make sure that you do it for the public good. Now, what's the public good? Well, they had these projects already where they wanted to spend the money to do it for the housing for these homeless people. Because right now, and then we go back to the state of California is spending billions, and I'm not kidding you, billions of dollars for the homeless. So who profits from this? Well, let's look back where the money goes. The money goes to the state of California, goes right to the county. So then the county has these projects they want to do. Well, they don't go out there and man these projects. They have these contractors that go out there and do what the work that the county needs. Good example, security. County doesn't do security. It'll be somebody else. It'll be a private organization. And the same thing with the drug hab or with the alcohol hab. They're going to have somebody else take care of it. And now what's going to happen is you're open to fraud. What happens when you get a bunch of people, organizations, NGOs that go out there and take care of these properties? They're going to fraud it to death. And then we're going to end up with a bloated budget. And they're going to say, wow, we really got took on this. Well, we knew in the beginning you're going to get taken because you have an open book. You don't give anybody information. You don't give us a budget. You give us just like what Sergio was saying, you don't give us a transcript of where the money's going to come and go. So how are we going to know when fraud's happening? This is what's happening throughout the state of California, not just the county of San Diego. This is California. We are taken for a ride every time we do something. Name one project, if you can name one project that the county and the California does that doesn't go over budget or it ends up being in problems with fraud. There's two scenarios that always happens. It's a given. It's not going to happen for sure. It's going to happen for sure. And that's the problem. We're dealing with these people that take advantage because they don't think we know any better. Here's a classic. That particular property on Hammondshaw Road and also on Troy Street, they're bypassing a lot of regulations. CEQA. CEQA is required to be performed on this property if you're going to do a project and build out. But here's the other problem. They determined that this is an emergency situation. And so you're now bypassing CEQA because it's an emergency situation. They're classifying this land as emergency. That's what they were going to do with the Hammondshaw land. And all they're going to do is bypass every regulation they need to do. All the permitting is going to be just pushed right on through and basically going to give you the drawings and everything. But they're not going to come up with the same thing. They're going to detour away from a lot of this. By the time they get it built, they're going to say, we're not going to have enough funds to what? To have counselors. For what? For security. They're not going to have all this money for that. So what's going to happen? You're going to have this property with all these people and nowhere to go and nobody to take care of it. Here's the other kicker. Lemon Grove was promised an extra sheriff for Lemon Grove because they're contracted. They were going to promise a sheriff, and they were going to get paid for this land. They were going to benefit from. Lemon Grove is broke. That's why they did it.
Yeah, you know what? By any chance, thank you for the super chat. By the way, I just want to say, why are they calling it an emergency? What was the correct term? Emergency land, or
it was an emergency.
I have it right here. It's called a Compassionate Emergency Solutions and Pathways to Housing. So CESPH, the Compassionate Emergency Solutions and Pathway to Housing, which again started, according to their letter, October 19th, 2021. 2021. And this wouldn't be completed until 2027.
Wow. Yeah.
So we don't know their definition of emergency.
Yeah. No, you know what? All of this is sounding so... it sounds very sketchy. Me kind of like very like taking all of this information in right now. It sounds like there's something else going on. And this is me just listening as an audience, you know, and somebody from the community that wasn't really aware of this. Another thing too, Gil, I think I remember from last time that we spoke, I don't think there was anybody that informed the community, at least here in Hammondshaw Road, right? I'm not sure if they informed people now closer to that area. Did that ever happen?
They did learn their lesson, and they informed Lemon Grove prior to the purchase, by the way, so it really surprised me. But they did, and what happened was there was an uproar. They had so many people turning out for those meetings and saying they didn't want it. I'm talking about Lemon Grove people. And you got to remember, Lemon Grove is not a large city.
Yeah.
And right. I venture to say they had a gymnasium full of people hollering, upset, yelling, because they didn't want it. Because they know what's going to happen. And it's the same scenario when you go through all these projects that the government does, they don't really care. They didn't do an analysis. They didn't go through the public services to find out if the public wanted it or if they were okay with the location. They decided this on their own. They said, we got the land, we got the money, we're going to do it. And obviously somebody went along with it, which was at that time, and I think still is, the mayor of Lemon Grove.
And then I have here a comment that I'm going to pull up. Shout out to Cali Girl 80s. She's been very active. I appreciate that. So if you don't have $2 million to buy the property, you don't have the money to run it at $3.6 million a year, stop wasting taxpayers' dollars. Exactly.
Right.
There's no end to this. You got an open-ended situation. So again, this is all projection. You know, Sergio said around the money. This is projection. We don't even know how long it's going to last. What if it only lasts 5 years? What if it lasts 10 years? What if it lasts 15 years? There's no guarantees because you know why? The county is in a deficit right now with their budget. The state of California is in a deficit in their budget. Where's this money going to come from? They're projecting, I'm using this word again, that maybe this source of money will come from the federal government or from another place. Where? How can you guarantee? You can't. The government can't guarantee nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wanted to point out that again, the county board of supervisors voted 4-1 in October 2025. Then in December 2025, they got approval from FHWA, which I mentioned earlier, which is the Federal Highway Administration. They got approval from them to continue this process. The next approval that's needed will be voted on in March by the California Transportation Commission. They're going to look at this, and that's where the KPBS article that I read, they talk about that also. So that's what they're going to do in March. So the only thing, if someone doesn't, they want to voice a concern or they want to voice their opinion, they can contact the CTC. And and again, maybe later we can provide all this information somewhere where they can email the CTC, which is the California government, and tell them, hey, this is not good for our community, and this is maybe something that we could use for transportation.
Right.
But again, I agree. Transparency to me is a concern because again, that's one thing that's different. A business is for profit, and they keep secrets, like secret recipe, secret formulas. They're how they make their equipment. But government is supposed to be for the people and transparent.
Agree.
And that's where there's a difference between a business and a government. And as this being government doing this, we were looking for that transparency, and we're looking for for the people.
Yeah, I go back to the fact that when 125 was designed and promised to put through here, this freeway was done with federal funds. It was all federal funded. Now, because it's a federal highway. Now you go back and it has to be used for federal fund highway or a state-run highway or road. It has to be some sort of transportation system. How did they bypass all that? I have no idea, because they shouldn't be eligible for any of this land. Now, here's the other thing that came up on the Hamishaw situation when we first started. The state of California and in the county of San Diego had, I think it was 1,300 sites that they were looking at to put these small, tiny homes on. That's a lot, 1,300 sites. You know what they narrowed it down to? 2. Where was those 2? One is right here on Troy Street, and one was on Hamishaw. Now, 1,300 sites in the state of California, in San Diego, in Spring Valley. Now, why did we always end up with the 2 sites that ended up with the tiny homes? Well, how did that happen out of 1,300?
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
You got to use common sense with some of this stuff, and that's the reason why it really smacked us in the face when we started looking at this, because we're going, wait a minute. All these sites, and they picked these 2 and it's right next to schools, across the street from alcohol, down the street from recycles. You know that Spring Valley has about, I'd say off of Troy, maybe 4 or 5 recycling places. That doesn't count the liquor stores. There's 3 or 4 on that street. Now you go back to this where they wanted to do it with Hamishaw. It had 5 or 6 schools around there, and they wanted to put it right next to a daycare center. So this is what doesn't make sense. They're not looking at these properties for the benefit of the people. They're looking at these places for the benefit of them. What's easy for them? What's easy and convenient to put it at? It's almost shameful that they're doing this in front of our face, and then they do it with a smile and thinking they're helping the homeless. They're not helping the homeless. They're not helping us. We got to get to a point where there's got to be a solution for the homeless. Really is. And we got to start with, how do you take care of these people?
Yeah, I think something cut off. Sergio, can you hear me? Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah, sorry, you got cut off real quick. But yeah, I agree. Then somebody just mentioned, just to piggyback from that, Gil, somebody mentioned that there was a next to a new early learning center. There we go. Sorry, I was trying to see if we had connection, but I got the Wi-Fi back. Sorry about that. I don't know what the heck happened. I think they're trying to put a stop to to all of this. Let me go ahead and add you guys real quick. I apologize to. Let me make sure that you guys are on. Nope. Let me add you guys real quick. Oh man, that was interesting. That hasn't happened. Yeah, so somebody mentioning that we lost the service, but yeah, let me add you guys real quick. I think now more than anything, it's that's becoming more not a conspiracy anymore. It's becoming all facts now. Let me guess two. Yeah, still don't let me. How do you guys? For some reason, yeah. Well, just 1 second. I think all of this is all over the place. Just 1 second. Yeah, it's dropping. Yeah, sorry. Gilbert, Sergio. Huh. For some reason, I'm not getting you guys real quick. Yeah, I'm not able to add you guys for some reason. Huh. Do you mind so I can add you guys back into the? Yeah. So it would just be okay. Sounds good. Yeah. I apologize for that. I'm being quite honest. It's never happened before. Gil, do you mind just exiting from Zoom and then rejoining? Sorry, I think the conversation was going very, very good, and then all of a sudden, all of this happened. I'll be able to reconnect with both Gil and Sergio. Okay, there we go. We got Sergio back on. Let me see.
No, I don't think you did.
I'm back.
So yeah, Gil, you're gonna have to exit off from Zoom completely, and then I'll be able to re-add you right now.
All right.
Okay, there we go. So once again, I apologize for that. It hasn't happened before. Somebody hacked. There we go. So I think I see Mr. Gil now, and
Okay.
I hear you.
I can see everybody, except I don't see myself.
yeah. Huh.
Do you see me, Sergio?
Yes, I see. I hear you, and I see a small picture of you.
Yeah, I'm not able to add Gil. Let me just make sure. Yeah, I don't see.
Let me see if I can go back out and in.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll ask you to confirm if you're leaving. So you might have to hit it twice.
Sergio, while we wait for Gil to join in, do you have any other points that you want to go ahead and tackle?
Those were the key points, and I just want to summarize them. That again, we just have skepticism and professional skepticism, and then we also wish there was more transparency. And again, the numbers, it's not so much the cost. It's the way they're calculated as, if this project was to go 15 years, well, it's not going to stay at 3.6 million per year. That's obviously going to change. And then also, like, how do they do the calculations? And then again, one source, the the district supervisor's website compared to the document from October of 2025, they don't match. And again, this email, there's information that they're trying to, different ways of acquiring the land. Again, that's understandable. And there was one more where I didn't mention that they're saying, can we just start with a lease to buy option is what it says. So I thought that was a little bit interesting. That was like the third option on how they could, get this thing moving. So, and again, we do want assistance for the homeless. We're not experts on how to provide all of that assistance. We're talking here more about the location, about how the process has gone, meaning transparency, and how the numbers work out. So, and again, the location is just being that we do drive through there. It's in our neighborhood. It's in our, community. It's not the best of sites. I believe in November, a bicyclist was killed on Troy Street, maybe a block away from that location by a vehicle. And there was no, according to the news, there was no alcohol or anything involved. So things do happen, so the location just doesn't seem like the proper, the best for the individuals that would be, living there or for the community. And again, it's right next to a residential house. I mean, right next to the residential house.
Right.
I'm saying, so that's interesting too. Like, wow, that's going to be right next to your house. And there's other places that we already had like other types of things in Spring Valley.
Right.
Off Olive, we already had like overnight place for people to park and sleep. So Spring Valley is contributing. Our communities are contributing to assisting. It's just, again, we're not in full agreement, and especially the way the process has been handled.
Yeah. Gil, I see your camera. For some reason, it stopped. I can't add you onto. For some reason, I'm not able to add your camera. I think we're also getting close to the 1 hour mark. Maybe we can resume this. And so maybe having a second half into this. And if there is any comments in the comment section that you guys want, either Sergio, we can still hear you, I believe. Do you mind talking real quick?
Right. Yes, I'm here.
Okay. And Gil, do you mind talking? Maybe since I can't put you on camera, maybe we can just hear you.
Sure.
Yeah, I do hear you. So, yeah, if there's any additional comments or any final diebacks, and we can resume this another night as well.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be the best. I'd like to get more information out too, because I think we just started this. We're just skirting on the outside right now. We need to get people more involved, because obviously people are going to be interested in this if it comes up, and we need to get people involved. And you can always follow me on the Spring Valley Coalition on our Facebook.
Okay.
And I know Sergio he's involved with other groups too, but we're going to get this back out again and start moving this around.
Yeah, let's do it. And then I am getting some additional input of that. Yes, please, if you do host another one, give us enough notice so we can get enough traction and notification to the community about this. I'm willing to do this again sometime next week if you guys would like. That way, and then we can put everything with a little bit more time, and so we can share it with the rest of the community. Maybe additional questions, concerns, so on and so forth. But I would love to do it again. I mean, the more people, the better.
Yeah, we can get Lemon Grove involved and get their input too, because this is a major impact on their community. So, along with Spring Valley, but major on theirs.
I agree. Gil, Sergio, any final diebacks for today, and then we can resume this next week and invite more people for them to share their thoughts and concerns.
Yeah, I just wanted to provide you those resources that I mentioned, the articles written, the letter, the email, again, the report from 2010. I want to give you, links to that so people could review that also and make their own conclusions also.
Okay, perfect. So somebody saying Cali Girl 80s, I am Lemon Grove, let's do this. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so Gil, you have any final words?
Well, again, you can contact or send messages. We're open to everybody. We're a community organization. That's a Spring Valley Coalition on Facebook, and you can get on there. And also, we have projects that are going to come up with the cleaning of the streets and doing some other projects. And we'd be helpful if people just get on there and look. We've got some new particular podcast the last time, so I'm hoping this will generate more people.
Yeah, and I'll do some clips out of this and post it throughout the week.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Joel.
Perfect. I appreciate you guys' time. And once again, if I do have a hotline number into the bottom of the description of this video, so if there's any messages or if you guys want to leave any voice notes or whatnot, anybody can go ahead and do so.
Okay. Great.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you guys for you guys' time and for all this information, because I wasn't really aware of the numbers and specific and all that. So thank you, Sergio. Thank you, Gil.
All right. And we'll see you
both.
next time.
Okay. We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.